morning, everyone. Welcome to Delta Entertainment. I am your host, Lincoln Kenobi. And before we get started, I would like guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to my channel. Would appreciate that very, very much. All right, let's get into this. So, this is not surprising of what Lucasfilm is doing. New report claims that Star Wars is getting a sequel trilogy retcon, but it may not even matter anymore because it's true. Does it really matter? Because, I mean, look, after everything they did after The Last Jedi, everything went down the tube. Rise of Skywalker was even worse. And then when after The Mandalorian Season 2 came out, from the Book of Boba Fett all the way down, except for Andor and Skeleton Crew, things went down the drain for a lot of Star Wars television projects. And let me tell you, does it really matter at this rate? Especially for any original Star Wars fan? Does it really matter if they retcon the sequel trilogy? I mean, we've been wanting that for a long time, especially in the season finale of the Book of Boba Fett, where Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni had the chance to do so. But they decided not to do that. They decided to keep Grogu for a little longer. And look where it's got them. So let's take a read at this and see what you guys think. Here we go. That's that time again. Another report that Star Wars is getting ready to retcon the sequel trilogy. But this time it's coming from a source more likely to defend the decisions of Kathleen Kennedy than to declare Lucasfilm the owners of the dead franchise. According to a recent report from Screen Rant, Disney Lucasfilm appears to be quietly preparing to retcon the Star Wars sequel trilogy. The article argues that recent and upcoming Star Wars projects are effectively rewriting or recontextualizing the narrative established by the sequels, suggesting that the events of those films may be sidelined, if not outright outdone. Undone, I mean. The notion of how such a retcon could work is rooted in existing Star Wars lore, specifically the concept of the world between worlds, a mystical time and space bending realm introduced in the animated series Star Wars Rebels. Some theorists and commentators suggest that through the world between worlds, Lucasfilm could introduce an alternate timeline. This is one way they could attempt to preserve the sequel trilogy as canon in one timeline while effectively replacing or ignoring it in another. Look, I'm going to say this. Again, we've been wanting this to happen for so long. For so long, we've wanted this to happen. You know? But they did not have the guts to do so. They could have done that. But they didn't. So what makes us think that it's really going to attempt to happen, bro? Do you really think it's going to matter anymore? It may not matter because with everything that they've done, it may not work. Specifically, it is the path. If this path is taken, the sequels will no longer be the definite continually, and future films or series might proceed as through the sequels never happened, or happened in a different branch of the Star Wars multiverse. The Screen Rant report implies this may already be underway as part of a brother shift away from the Return of the Jedi era that the sequels cemented. That said, there remains substantial skepticism and practical obstacles as noted in another Screen Rant article. It is very unlikely that Lucasfilm would fully retcon the sequels. First, because upcoming projects are reportedly still linked to the sequel trilogy legacies, and because such a sweeping rewrite would risk undermining a decade's worth of films, books, comics, and other media built around those movies. And given reports that Kathleen Kennedy has told Sean Levi to stay away from anything old in the upcoming Star Wars Starfighter film, it might be more believable that Lucasfilm simply wants to bury their failures and forget about them. And this is true. And this is true that Kathleen did say, and she tweeted, Sean Levi, don't worry about the legacy characters. Don't worry about the legacy characters. Don't worry about what happened in the past of Star Wars. Do your own story. And that's what I want. I want a different story of Star Wars. And I think this Star Wars Starfighter may be the start of it. It could be the start of it. Like I said, we don't know what details they're going to have in there. We don't know what they're going to put. It's going to probably be a surprise for everybody. It's not coming out till 2027. So we shall see. Now, I'm looking more forward to the Star Wars Starfighter than I'm looking forward to the Mandalorian and Grogu. But like I said, we're going to see what happens here. We're going to see. So let's keep reading this. All right, let me see if I can. Here we go. Rumors of the World Between Worlds Retcon attempt have been swirling for many years and always to no real fruition behind the scenes at Lucasfilm. Yet the economic motivation for retconning the sequels is fairly straightforward. The sequel trilogy was polarizing among fans and critics, and its legacy continues to cast a long shadow. The final entry, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, ended a divisive arc that many feel left plot threads unresolved, character motivations muddled, and the tone inconsistent with earlier and more beloved eras of Star Wars storytelling. Star Wars merchandise has fallen dramatically, as detailed in Disney's public releases regarding their top IP. Single note franchises like Lilo and Stitch now easily outrank A Galaxy Far, Far Away. Moreover, newer content, especially streaming era series like Ahsoka and others in what fans call the Mandoverse, has shifted focus to different time periods and narrative styles. The emphasis now seems to be in reinventing Star Wars post-original trilogy rather than continuing its immediate aftermath explored by the sequels. Thus, a retcon could serve as a soft reboot, enabling Lucasfilm to refocus on parts of the galaxy they deem more fertile creatively, free from the baggage of the sequels, controversies, while still preserving their most valuable legacy elements. But at this time, important, it may not much matter because Star Wars is already in decline. And he's right, and it's true. Does it really, the question is for everyone, does it really matter anymore? Look, part of me still wants to believe that Star Wars can be back to the roots, but it has been so damaging, bro. It has been so damaging of what has happened. I'd rather just get AI in here right now and take over, man. Just get the AI and do it, because AI has been really spot on of what they have been doing, man. You can see all the creatives with AI, how they do things, bringing back original characters from different eras. Look, I would love to see the AI take over Star Wars, because it would be amazing if they did that. But like I said, for this to happen, bro, you gotta make sure that every Star Wars fan, old to young, will come back and watch this. So here we go. For one, even before any official retcon, the sequel trilogy's cultural and commercial influence has been waning. The last original Star Wars theatrical film came out in 2019. Since then, the franchise's cinematic output has been praised sparse. And major projects like a proposed sequel trilogy standalone film starring a popular character, Ben or Kylo Ren, got canceled. Even Rian Johnson has finally admitted that there are no plans to make more Star Wars under his direction. Streaming shows have become more central to the franchise identity than big screen films, and even those seem to move away from the sequels in timeline. The broader fan base appears fatigued. The interest in the franchise appears more fragmented than it once was. In that environment, whether or not the sequels remain officially canon may not significantly affect the general public's appetite for Star Wars content going forward. Second, and perhaps more to the point, retconning or ignoring the sequels does little to address the deeper issues the franchise faces: lack of coherent long-term vision, overabundance of side stories, and a sense of shifting creative direction with each release. If the problem has never been just specific films, but rather with what Star Wars has become under Disney Lucasfilm, then rewriting the sequels won't magically restore fandom goodwill or guarantee success. Yes, the sequel trilogy does immense damage to the lore, to Luke Skywalker, to Anakin, etc. But if Lucasfilm has learned nothing from those mistakes, they'll just repeat them again without any understanding of what makes the franchise special and unique. Yeah. And like I said, I mean, the question I ask, does it matter? Does it really matter for any Star Wars, especially old-time Star Wars fans like myself? Will it matter if we wanted to retcon the sequel trilogy? Would it matter right now? Because it may not matter anymore. Because, I mean, think about what they did with Ahsoka in the Ahsoka series. They ruined Ahsoka. They ruined Sabine. So, I mean, it may not work. It may not work. The one thing they could do is just forget the sequel trilogy and just do a different story of Star Wars. Forget, for once, just forget about the lightsabers. Forget about the Force. Just do space fighting. That's what they need to do. Just try that. Just make it different. Make it better. If you want to get away from George Lucas's stories and characters, do that. But retconning the sequel trilogy just to try to make it better, it's not going to work. That, in my book, in my opinion, I don't think that's not going to work. But, hey, we'll see what they do in the long run. But do I think it's going to happen? I highly doubt it. But we'll see. You guys let me know in the comments what you guys think. So please, by all means, share this video, post a comment below, let me know your thoughts. And as always, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being part of the channel. And I hope to see you guys until next time. Bye, everyone.